Hello, my name is Steve Gearhart, and this is the Unagi Observer. This episode is a quick pre-Otakon tip. Now, before I start, let me apologize for the uploads lately. I've had the fortune of going out on a lot of job interviews as of late. Unfortunately, most of them are taking me outside of Baltimore. So thank you very much for your patience, because I still have a few more interviews to do. For those of you who watch this channel, you know that I do an annual Where to Eat for Otakon series of videos to help with con goers. This particular video is sort of a pre-Where to Eat for Otakon video. The normal series of videos will happen towards the later half of July. This Otakon tip video is for those of you who have already paid for your badge, your entry to Otakon, but for whatever reason you haven't got a place to stay yet. As we all know, hotels are pricey, and now that Otakon is in Washington, D.C., they are even pricier. The reason being of that is because D.C. is the capital of the United States of America, and also because it is a huge convention town. And at this point, you're going to start to notice that some of the hotels that Otakon has are sold out. Now, at this point, if you still need a room, there are a couple ways you can go about this. As Otakon suggests, keep checking back on those hotels that said they were sold out. They usually do have some rooms held on reserve and will release them as they get closer to the convention date. Otakon normally does a good job of blocking rooms for the convention, and the link for that is down below. But it never hurts to go through the Otakon website to check periodically. You never know what might happen. But keep in mind that there is no guarantee that a room will be available to you on the list that Otakon keeps. So at this point in June, if you don't have a room, what do you do? My first suggestion is to look for a hotel that is farther away from the DC Convention Center. What a lot of people don't realize about Washington, D.C. is that it is actually a small city geographically speaking. Plus, if you find a hotel within 3 or 4 blocks of a metro center, you're pretty much all set. Another thing to consider about getting a hotel room further away from the center is that it may even be a bit cheaper. The other thing to remember is that Metro extends into both Northern Virginia and Maryland. Tens of thousands of people use Metro every day to get to work. That means that there are hotels close by to Metro stations in both Maryland and Northern Virginia outside of DC, and may even be more cheaper. But the caveat to this is that you have to watch for alerts for Metro and leave earlier to get to Otakon than you might have planned as if you were in the city. The other option, and this is what I did in 2017, was to get an Airbnb. Depending on the size and type of Airbnb you get, you could pay the same as a nice hotel room or get something on the cheap. Usually people get a decent place close to a metro stop and pay less than what they would have paid for a hotel room that is close to the convention center. It all depends on what you decide to pay for. Pay cheap for just a room in somebody's townhome, or pay a little bit more or pay a lot more to stay in a carriage house. Now, obviously, you won't pay that much for a room, and you will pay a little bit of money for a carriage house. I was able to get a carriage house within 3 blocks of a metro station that was 2 stops north of the convention center for $100 less than what I would have paid for a hotel room for the weekend. But there are a couple of downsides to an Airbnb. First, you have to follow the rules of the owner to the letter, and you need to respect their property and privacy. You will be liable for their property while you are there. The rules and demands will be made clear on the Airbnb profile of the location, so you will know what you're getting into ahead of time. The second thing that you have to keep in mind is that they can cancel on you. However, they are obligated by law to give you your money back, but it means you have to find another place pretty quickly. Now, normally being canceled on is a very rare event. That's something they don't like to do, but just know that it could happen. If you choose to go the Airbnb route, check out the link below and fill in the profile. You'll need to be over 18 or else have an adult reserve the property for you. And you're going to need a credit card, of course. There may be some questions asked about you so the owner can quickly approve you. And one last thing about this. While I will address how addresses work in DC later on in July, one thing to note as you are looking for a place right now, The southeast and southwest quadrants of DC are not great places to be. Northern Virginia is fine, but those two parts of DC are where the crimes happen, just so you know. That's it for this video. This pre-Otakon tip video will be up until June 19th when I come back from my next round of job interviews. My name is Steve Gerhardt. This is the Unagi Observer, and thanks so much for watching, and see you guys next time.